So these stock pegs, we're done with those. Hey guys, it's Alan, the Fireman 1028, and today I'm with our 2022 KTM 390 Adventure, and we are going to finally address my biggest complaint about this bike, and that is the dadgum foot pegs. The stock foot pegs, while they're a decent size, they have this cant, they kind of slightly cant forward, which makes riding standing up difficult. So one of the very first things I did when I started my YouTube channel back up was reach out to PivotPegz and said, hey guys, I've got multiple bikes that I would love to get some of your pegs for, and they said absolutely, let's work together. So I ended up actually buying a set for my Transalp, which I hadn't installed yet, and then they said, hey look, I know you got a 390 Adventure, we'll send it over to you. So they sent me the pegs for the 390 Adventure. So PivotPegz, I will be forever loyal to you guys, and I cannot wait to get these installed on the bike. They are a phenomenal product, and if you don't know about PivotPegz, what gives it the name is that they actually have a separate spring inside here that actually allows them to pivot so you can rock the pegs back and forth as you ride. So this should not be a difficult installation, but I haven't really seen a good installation video, so we're going to do those now, and let's get started. All right guys, so the first step is we're going to have to remove our old foot pegs. These should be pretty simple. There's a little cotter pin right here that will pull that out, and we should be able to pull the whole assembly out. All right, with the cotter pin pulled out, there's a cotter pin, there's a washer, and then there's a little rubber spacer right there. So we'll pull all three of those out. And at this point, you just kind of push in on the peg, and you should be able to pull that pin right out. Kind of put your finger on your spring because you don't want your spring taken off. And note how the spring here, so this is a really short spring, and there's a little notch right inside here. There's a hole right inside here. This is where the stock spring goes inside there. Now PivotPegz says that their spring does not go inside the hole, but it just rests up against the side of it. So the spring will kind of, the end of the spring will be sticking out just a bit on the side right there. So just want to point that out real quick. All right, so we got our PivotPegz peg, and so their spring, see here's their spring here. So it's a lot longer, so it's going to rest up against the back of it there. Now, they've got it, a rubber band hold it in place. They say do not install it with a rubber band. Now, their kit comes with a spacer that needs to be used as well. Now, the spacer will go on the side of the spring. So, spring goes to the back of the bike. So this is the right side peg, so the spring is towards the back. Other one, the spring will be facing towards the back as well. So here's the front of the bike going this way. So the spring and the spacer will be on the back like this. Okay. Finally got the first peg through. Now, here's a little tip. PivotPegz gives you this little piece of plastic right here. Looks inconspicuous, but it serves a purpose. So what you do with that is you place your spacer. Let me see if I can, let's see if I can get this right here. You place your spacer on the side of the peg, and you run this piece of plastic through it. Let me see if I can demonstrate. Like that. You run that piece of plastic into the peg. There we go. There we go. There's a good view right there. And what that'll do is that'll hold your spacer and that'll hold your spring in place. Now, you can leave the rubber band on, you can take the rubber band off, but that way it'll hold the spacer, and then as you're pushing your pin through, it'll push the spacer out. So, finally got the first one installed. So we'll go ahead and go to the other side, take the other one off, take the other, so you see how nice those are. So I still got to put the cotter pin, and let me go ahead and do that now before we go to the other side. All right, we're around to the other side. We just turned the bike around, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this peg off. Ignore this right here. That's just some wax that the last guy who rented the bike was over zealous with waxing the chain, even though I had just done it. So we're going to pull this old peg off here, and with our newfound secret with that little plastic peg, this should go a lot faster to replace this one. Okay, now Got the old cotter pin out. Let's see how fast we can get this one done. We'll give this guy a little motivation. Old peg out. Let me show you something here. So if you'll notice, try to get this straight. If you'll notice right here, KTM specifically, can't speak for anybody else, they have an inset right here. So the pin can only go in one way and it rests flush, so it doesn't stick out either side. So other bikes don't have that, I know, but KTM has that. So the pin will come in from the top side and will sit flush like that. Nothing worse than putting the pin in and then realize you put it in the wrong way. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Look at that. Look at that. Took about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah. So listen, folks, PivotPegz doesn't tell you, but that little plastic, where'd that little plastic piece go? It shot out. That little plastic piece is a godsend. Again, they don't tell you, but use it. My gosh, that was so much easier. That was so much easier. Heck yeah. All right, guys, so that'll do it. That'll do the installation of the PivotPegz, pivoting pegs for the KTM 390 Adventure. So these stock pegs, we're done with those. Now, let's hop on the bike. Let's see how it feels. So the platform is significantly bigger, and like I said, they pivot going forward. Let's zoom in on that. So as you can see, the whole peg actually pivots forward and backwards, which is freaking awesome. All right, guys, so that'll wrap up the installation of the PivotPegz on our KTM 390 Adventure. Again, if you've seen anything that's beneficial to you, please like, comment, and subscribe. PivotPegz is an awesome company. Again, they were one of the first ones I reached out to, and they said, absolutely, I'd love to work together. So I will be forever loyal to PivotPegz. So guys, thank you. All right, guys, so that's it. That's the installation. Again, once you figured out the little details there, they include this little piece of plastic. How to find that damn thing? It shot across the floor. Anyway, if you can use that piece of plastic to hold the spacer in place, they go in perfectly. It took me 2 minutes on the other side, on the right side of the bike versus on the left. Again, if you've seen anything that you like, please like, comment, subscribe. Subscriptions for me is the ultimate compliment, and it allows us to keep doing what we're doing here. Thank you guys for watching. God bless, roll tide, and remember, tomorrow needs you. See you on the trails.